2 months had slipped by since I last saw Lily, my ex-wife. The house felt different now, quieter, lighter, as if it had been holding its breath all this time. Since the divorce, I had spent the weeks slowly piecing together a sense of normalcy, little by little. Mornings no longer felt chaotic. I made breakfast without the invisible tension lingering in the air. I watered the plants and actually noticed the little things around me. The birds chirping outside the kitchen window. It was a kind of peace I hadn't realized I'd been missing. I remembered the night she left. There had been no drama, no shouting, no shattered dishes. She had simply stood at the doorway, suitcase in hand, whispering, "I can't do this anymore." That simple sentence left a scar deeper than anything else. I had spent years trying to mend the silence, attempting to hold together something that had slowly crumbled with every passing day. And now, with her gone, I was learning that life could continue without that constant tension. Then one afternoon, there was a knock at the door. It was hesitant, almost shy, but something in the tone told me immediately who it was. Lily stood there, smaller than I remembered, her hair loosely tied, eyes glimmering with a mix of regret and longing. "Eli," she said, my name rolling off her tongue like it had been rehearsed countless times. "Can we start over?" I froze. Part of me wanted to slam the door and never look back. Another, quieter part, wanted to reach out and feel the spark I hadn't realized I still remembered. Before I could respond, a sound from the bathroom made me tense. A soft, playful voice, unmistakably familiar, called out. There, wrapped in a fluffy pink towel and dripping wet, was Penelope, Lily's younger sister. Her grin was hard to read. She stepped into the hallway, hair still damp, eyes full of amusement and pride. "He started," she said. "What?" I asked, though part of me already guessed. Penelope didn't answer right away. She tilted her head, eyes sparkling. "You know," she said finally, "being happy again. Moving on. You didn't wait for her to come back, you started living." It hit me like a splash of cold water. The past 2 months hadn't been empty. They had been lessons. I had discovered that life didn't pause for heartbreak. The world kept moving, and the best thing I could do wasn't wait for apologies or confessions, it was reclaim my own joy. I stepped back, processing the strange mix of emotions, relief, pride, a touch of guilt. Part of me still felt tied to Lily, but another part, the part Penelope seemed to see clearly, was untethered, free. "You've changed," Penelope said, breaking the silence. Not in a way that would make anyone jealous, but in a way that was stronger, quieter. I nodded slowly. I had no choice but to figure out who I was without her. "And you," I said with a faint smile, "helped more than you know." Her laughter bubbled up, light and teasing, and suddenly the hallway felt warmer, more alive. It was strange having her here, yet somehow, she made life feel fuller. For 2 months, I had been alone but never lonely. I had been quietly building happiness without realizing it. And now, standing there, seeing Penelope's knowing grin, I understood that joy didn't need anyone else's permission. Then, Lily stepped back, hesitant, twisting her hands at her sides. "Eli, please," she said, her voice trembling. "I was wrong. I've realized everything. Can we try again?" I looked at her, really looked, for the first time in weeks. The spark was still there, but so were the cracks I had learned to notice. The cracks that had been invisible when I was desperate to hold on. The cracks I had ignored, hoping she would change. The cracks that had brought us to this awkward, tense reunion. For the first time, I didn't feel the urge to fix everything immediately. I didn't feel the need to plead or beg. I only felt clarity. 2 months had taught me something I hadn't realized I needed to learn. Sometimes the person who returns isn't the person you need anymore. Sometimes it's the person you became while they were gone. I took a slow breath and stepped closer, not out of longing, but out of honesty. "Lily, I've changed," I said quietly. "And not just for you. For me. For the life I've been building while you were gone. I'm not the same person who waited silently for you to return." Her eyes widened as uncertainty crept in, and for the first time, I felt the strength of the life I'd reclaimed. She had likely anticipated tears, maybe pleading, perhaps even anger. but not the calm certainty that had taken root in me over the past 2 months. Penelope, standing just behind me, tilted her head and smirked, clearly savoring the moment. "He's being honest," she said lightly, as if her presence alone highlighted the change. "You missed your opportunity. Don't take it personally." Lily swallowed hard. For a fleeting instant, the woman I had once loved seemed smaller, almost fragile. It was strange to witness someone who once held so much sway over my heart now reduced to hesitation. I had carried years of hurt, rejection, and disappointment, and in that moment, I realized I no longer required her approval to breathe, to live, or to be happy. I remembered those first weeks after she left. The nights had been long and empty. I had sat on the porch with a mug of coffee, staring at the dark sky, crying quietly, not loud sobs, but a deep, soul-wrenching sadness that pressed against my chest. Slowly, though, the tears began to ebb. I started running in the mornings. I returned to novels I had abandoned. I even tried new recipes, cooking for myself, for fun, not for anyone else. In doing so, I rediscovered a part of myself buried beneath compromise and longing. "Eli, please," Lily whispered again, her voice trembling. "I've made mistakes. I don't want to lose you forever. Can we start over?" I shook my head gently. "Starting over doesn't mean picking up where we left off," I said. "It means building from what we've learned. And what I've learned is that I deserve someone who gives me the same care, attention, and respect I give them. I can't return to the past without risking the same heartbreak." Her lips quivered, but she said nothing. My words seemed to settle in the room like a weighty blanket. I could see her struggling to reconcile the woman she had been with the man standing before her, a man who no longer bent, begged, or waited. Sensing the shift, Penelope stepped closer and said softly, "You see, Lily, people can't just come back and expect the world to stop. He's living. He's happy. He's not waiting anymore." Her eyes met mine, a silent acknowledgement of the growth I had achieved on my own. I smiled faintly, feeling the calm I had longed for. "You had your chance," I said. "And I hope you find your clarity too. But I've already found mine." And just like that, it was over. Not with anger, not with shouting, not with desperate pleas. It ended with clarity, dignity, and a quiet liberation I hadn't known I could feel. Later that evening, Penelope and I sat on the porch, watching the sky shift from gold to deep indigo. "You didn't just survive this," she said casually. "You thrived. That's why she came back. She saw you weren't waiting for her, and that scared her." I nodded, sipping the tea I had prepared earlier. "It's strange," I said slowly. "Losing someone made me realize how much of myself I had been ignoring. I spent so long hoping she would see me, wanting me, that I forgot I had to see myself first." Penelope grinned. "Exactly. And now that you've done that, you're unstoppable." A soft breeze rustled the trees, carrying a sense of closure. The chapters of my life with Lily weren't erased, they were rewritten, in a way that no longer held me captive. I had my freedom, my strength, and an unexpected ally in Penelope, who had somehow become a symbol of the life I had reclaimed. I understood then that some endings aren't tragic, they're clarifying. They reveal what you truly deserve. They show that happiness isn't given. It's built, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt certain that no matter what came next, I had already begun living the story I was meant to live. 2 months after the divorce, Lily returned, begging, but it was too late. I had already started living. And in that life, I found peace, joy, and a quiet strength that no apology could ever undo.